Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk Automotive. This is the 4th season. Can you believe that, Pete?
4th season, episode 45.
Yeah, I think we're getting on, eh?
Absolutely. Love it.
All right. In tonight's show, we have the latest and breaking automotive news. We review the Volvo XC90, and our guest tonight is Heinrich du Preez, the Managing Director of EV Global.
And then I'm going to take on Heinrich on Game Time. Hopefully, I'll be a bit more successful this season. And then we're going to do our How Things Work segment on Tyres. And we're going to end off with my favorite part of the evening. And we've got two good ones, eh? Tonight.
Absolutely. Looking forward to Tappet of the Week. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Let's Talk Automotive. Peter, so it's been, I think, three or 4 weeks since we've last been here.
I've missed you.
I've missed you too, but luckily we've seen each other.
We have, and we also were together yesterday with Uncle Fritz down in Port Elizabeth for the new... Can we let the cat out of the bag?
Tell the people what we did yesterday.
Man alive, I think we had probably one of our best experiences in the motor industry, to be fair.
Absolutely.
Where we went and had a good look at the Tesla Model X, believe it or not, the only one in the country.
So, let me just tell you, Pete, that I explained it to you guys this way. It's been a long time since technology's sort of really excited me this much. Probably the last time when Apple came with iPhone and changed the whole, mobile telephone world.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you remember that? The Apple with the...
Well, I can't because I don't...
Okay, so you weren't excited about it, but when that came out, it completely changed telephones. You know what I'm saying?
It was a shapeshifter in every respect, and there's no doubt this Tesla.
The Tesla is exactly the same. It's a car, but it's not a car. It's just, and I said this yesterday that maybe the viewers at home will remember a show called Beyond 2000. And I remember as a kid watching that show, and you were probably in your 30s about then. And as a kid, I watched that show and just thinking what the future will be like. Yeah. And yesterday, when I got into that car, I had this surreal experience of, this is what the future, this is the future now.
It really is. But one thing that I enjoyed about the car was I realized just what a great sense of humor Elon Musk has.
Absolutely. But you guys will have to wait 1 week to see this. So join us next week for our special edition Tesla episode. This is going to be amazing. So we spoke to Greg Blanford, the director of Rubicon, who brought in this car. It's not for sale.
No.
They're not bringing in Tesla. They just wanted to bring in this car, and they're using it as a marketing tool, basically, for Tesla Powerwall, which they do supply.
Yeah, and a great marketing tool at that, because even when we were driving it around, the looks and attention that we got,
absolutely.
I kind of wish I was single a little bit.
So join us next week for our special edition Tesla episode. All right, Pete, are you ready to rock and roll?
Let's rock and roll and get on to the news.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the news. Okay, so the first story that we're going to do tonight is that Kia has brought out a new sort of compact, smallish SUV,
almost a mini SUV.
And when I saw the name of this new car, I immediately knew how to pronounce it because one of my ex-girlfriends was called Sunette.
Sunette? Yes. Well, that's probably why she's your ex-girlfriend, because it's a Sonnet.
Oh, is it a Sonnet, not Sunette?
So if you kept calling her Sonnet...
But look at this car, Pete. It's really good looking, and I must say that this sort of segment in the market is really getting some stiff competition. The Vitara Brezza, the Sonnet now,
Ford EcoBoost,
the EcoSport.
EcoSport, sorry, the Peugeot 2008. It's getting very crowded, but what an awesome thing for customers, because now we've got lots of choice in a compact SUV market, and as we know, SUVs are the dominant sort of sellers in the market.
And looking at the pricing, You know, that car's got all the bells and whistles and all the different specs that we would come to expect from Kia and in this segment. Pricing from 264,995 for the 1.5 LX manual, and then the top of the range EX CVT is 305,995, which is very competitive.
Very competitive pricing, especially if you have a look at the standard execution in the vehicles, including the safety specifications, so things like ESC and ABS with EBD and hill start assist and all those good things. Yeah, it's very well spec'd for that price.
I'm looking forward to actually getting this car and driving it because it does really impress on paper.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, moving on. Volvo. Volvo brings in the XC40 P8 Recharge all electric. So Volvo's first full electric.
Yep, and we know Volvo announced very early on. In fact, they were probably one of the pioneer brands in terms of announcing the fact that they were going to make all their vehicles electrified in some form or another. And now they are upping that ante. This is obviously their first entree into a fully fledged electric vehicle.
Yeah.
But by 2030, all their vehicles are going to be fully electric. And what was very interesting for me was the MD of Volvo South Africa, Greg Marozewski, made it quite clear that Volvo internationally, and certainly it's certainly going to be the case in South Africa, is now moving to not only full electric vehicles, but that also all the vehicles will be sold online. Yeah,
it's very interesting. It's exciting times to live in.
What a great time to be alive! I mean, you know that Tesla Roadster, the Tesla Model X yesterday, it really blew my socks off, and it made me realize, hang on a second, you know. This is the gift that keeps giving in terms of cars.
Sure.
And you know, these kind of things.
The electric vehicle thing's not going away. It's not going away. Yeah. I know that we've got a hot debate, and you're actually busy with an article on this. I'm looking forward to that when it's done. But yes, let's move on to the last story in the news segment today, and this is that the Golf 8. The Volkswagen Golf 8 has landed in South Africa. We've got some pictures of that coming off the ship. There, the Golf 8's driving off. What do you call that thing?
It's a Ro-Ro.
A Ro-Ro?
Yes.
Okay, so
in the old days, when I was still young, they used to row those things out to South Africa.
All right, so a lot of hype around this car. I think a lot of people waiting for this car, but unfortunately with this microchip shortage and production because of COVID and etc., they are not on time with the launch of this car. So they are coming into South Africa a little bit drips and drabs, and they're building up a little bit of a stock holding before they launch the car. So it's been delayed. Let me just check. I can't remember. They said to the beginning of the third quarter. Yeah.
I mean, and it's fair enough. I think that you'd rather have some stock in the country before you create too much of an order book and upset customers. So I think a good thing, you know, to just hold it off for a bit and keep the excitement going.
Sure. All right. So that's the end of the news today, but very exciting and interesting news. Like we said in our intro, we had the Volvo XC90, the T6 here a couple of weeks ago, and you were jet-setting around the country and weren't available. So very interestingly enough, ladies and gentlemen, we will introduce you to Fritz tonight. He's normally behind the scenes, but for this review, we brought him in front of the camera, and even if I say so myself, he did a sterling job.
Oh, he did brilliantly.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our review for this week. Hi and welcome to Let's Talk Automotive. I'm Fani, and today we decided to have Fritz join us. He's normally behind the scenes or behind the camera, but this time I decided, Fritz, why don't you join us for the review, because you've actually had the pleasure of driving this car for a couple of days now, and who better to tell us a bit more about it?
Thanks, Fani, and what an awesome week. I don't usually drive the cars, but I took it out for a spin or two with the family as well, and what an amazing car. It blew my mind.
Awesome. So let's do a little bit of an exterior walk around, and let's start with the front. One thing that's very, very interesting and spectacular, driving this at night, is the LED headlights. Everything's LED. High beam, low beam, fog lights at the bottom, everything LED.
So I don't really care about the looks of lights,
Yeah.
but this again blew me away. So when you drive and you actually turn the steering, the lights float into the direction of your
Correct.
driving path, and the turning lights also come on. So it's a intuitive lighting system that gives you light where you need it.
Amazing. Look and feel about this, your initial thoughts when you look at the car, Fritz?
So my thoughts are, this is a Volvo. Volvo means fancy to me.
Yeah.
So I look at this car and I thought, this isn't a head turner per se, because I'm used to the shape and the look of the XC90, but it did turn a few heads, I
Yes.
must say.
I agree with you. From an external point of view, it's not a flashy type of car. It is a beautiful looking car, and we've got the Inception package on this. Comes out standard or with this package with a 21-inch in, and it's a 10-spoke diamond cut alloy wheel. It's really, really fancy.
It's beautiful. Funny, so why I mentioned that it's not an eye turner is, I think this car is going to age well.
It
I would
has
not-
aged well.
It
Yes.
has. So I would not buy it as a quick turnover car on a lease or something. I'll buy this one and drive it forever, because I
Sure.
think this thing will age well. The look is beautiful, and I think this is aimed at a market where people want to be fancy, they want to have style, but they want to drive a car for a longer
Sure.
period.
I agree. Looking at the back of the car, Fritz, very much a Volvo kind of finish. What we've come to expect, all the Volvos sort of got the same look and feel. Again, a lot of safety elements with the tail lights integrated all the way to the top to make sure that visibility for braking, etc., etc. These guys really think about safety first.
I love it, but if you had to ask me what's the best feature of the back of this car, it sits right here above the number plate. I had so much fun with the cameras and the views and the safety features. Again, what a great experience. But all round, really one of my favorite fancy cars.
Okay, so talking about the cameras, I think it's time. Let's go and have a look on the inside.
I will show you a thing or two.
Okay, Fritz, we are now in the cockpit. We are now on the business or in the business end of this Volvo. Your initial thoughts?
Bonnie, this is luxury. This is the trim, the feeling, the seats, everything just said, this is awesome. You know, when I stopped at my brother's place and he said, yeah, Fritz, this suits you. So I'm heavily impressed.
Okay, let's talk about a couple of the features, and let's start here at the start-stop button, because this is quite unique. Normally we would see a press button. Here you have to turn this knob to start and switch off the engine.
I think there's a lot of features in this Volvo XC90 that says, this is what you might be used to, but here's something new.
We give
Now,
you a little bit of a different taste.
so it's the first Volvo that I drive, and the first fancy Volvo, and it was an overall new experience to me. Like, my process was get in, adjust the seats, and there's lots of adjustments for the
Yes,
seats.
yes.
There's up and down and back support and rest, and it also displays on the display what you are tuning. So that was my first thing, very fancy. And one thing that I saw is you can actually preset seat positions for
Correct.
3 drivers.
And that's something that Peter always talks about, is that he actually enjoys a manual seat adjustment, because the electric seats always takes a little bit long, and etc., etc. But yeah, the memory, not only for the driver but also the passenger, makes it a lot easier.
It makes it nice. I guess Peter likes the full and fun.
Yes.
The analogness of
Yes.
it brings me to this display in the front. Now, I'm a guy that likes a bit of analog.
Yes.
Maybe I don't trust electronics, but this display actually impressed me a lot. All the information that you need comes up as you need it. Like,
Yes.
who's got seat belts on? What's your speed limit? And then when you change driving modes, for instance, the whole rev counter changed to an economy indicator and not a hardcore rev counter per se.
Let's talk about the driving modes. So here's a little button here. If you press that button on your screen, it comes up. There's 4 driving modes. We can go eco, comfort, dynamic, and off-road. So efficient drive, obviously the eco, the everyday use for comfort. Dynamics is the dynamic performance is a high performance setting, and off-road, which actually really gets this vehicle completely off the ground, with the air suspension and gives you quite a look that you enjoy.
I love it. It transforms a low car to a SUV kind of look. I wish I could keep it in that mode forever, but I would say it lifts about 10 centimeters, and I think it changes the response of the suspension in any case.
Yes.
But amazing the differences in driving modes that you can apply.
Let's talk about the engine quickly, because this is a 2-liter engine, but it's supercharged and turbocharged. Did you know that?
In the beginning, I thought it was just a turbocharged engine,
Yes.
but I'm not the pro driver. But I thought it was way bigger, because this is a vehicle that's heavy and it looks heavy,
Yes.
but it drives like a small car. So never ever did I think, I wish I had more power. So
Yes.
it makes a lot of sense that there's a turbocharger for
For the high revs,
and then a supercharger for that initial boost.
For the initial boost.
Yeah, great. I think, Fani, if you go through the hardcore specs of this vehicle, there's so many things that's built into this vehicle automatically that you don't know about. And I think some of it you can tune here. But
Yeah.
what was your experience with this whole thing in the beginning? Because that's so fancy.
I explained this to Peter exactly like this, that this made me think of a Samsung, and I'm an iPhone guy. So all the buttons did the opposite of what I expected it to do. It does take some getting used to.
But like you say, getting used to, after driving this for a while, things start to make sense. Why the speed control or the cruise control
Yes.
and the indicator would sit close together. Why the gear lever and the start button
Yes.
would sit together. Maybe Volvo thought ergonomically it makes more sense to design things for the ease of use than fanciness or the old tradition.
Agree.
Just my
Agree.
thought.
Safety for Volvo has always been a major factor. They've got in this car, they've got a system built in rollover assist, which is the pre-tensioner of your safety belts that pulls and tucks you into the seat as soon as something rolls over. The curtain airbags. There's
I see airbags everywhere.
Everywhere, all the way to the back. Everybody's got airbags. Obviously, Volvo has safety top of mind.
And one thing that struck me as very nice is that everything that applies to the driver also applies to the passenger in front,
Yes.
but also to the whole car. So
Correct.
there's speakers everywhere,
Yes.
there's airbags everywhere, there's accessories everywhere, the climate control applies to everybody, and
Even the third row.
even the third row, and
Yes.
that's quality and comfort like I've never seen before.
Agreed. So Fritz, on the open road, surely this 8-speed automatic gearbox was a pleasure to drive.
It's a huge pleasure. When we spoke about the engine, I said I never felt like I needed more power. Now, I didn't know that this is an 8-speed gearbox,
Yeah.
because the automatic transmission is so smooth,
Yes.
and the power is so readily available that it was perfect for me.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like I had to kill the engine to get power, and the power was there. So
Yes.
great gearbox. Really impressed me.
Okay, as a final thought, I want to take you back to something that you and I both enjoy and appreciate. Talk to me about this Bowers Wilkins sound system in this car.
I remember the days, Funny, when we got our first cars, and it was a hell of a mission to install the right sound and the
Yes.
woofers and stuff.
Yes.
This thing comes with bells and whistles.
Yeah.
What's it called? Bowers and Wilkins.
Bowers and Wilkins.
And this is brilliant. The amount of speakers in this car, again, the surround sound experience, it blew my ears away.
Taking it to a next level, because you've obviously got the studio optimized for all seats option. Then you've got an individual stage where you can tune and make sure that you're getting. But look at this, a concert hall, the Gothenburg Concert Hall, the home of the Gothenburg Symphony Orchestra. The sound option that this gives you, Fritz, is unbelievable.
So I've tried it. So when you play something that's real music and you go to the concert hall setting, it feels like it's expanding the volume in here by 70 times.
Yes.
You're in a different world, and it's brilliant. It's really cool, and what I like is it's already in here.
Yes.
I didn't have to solder a single wire. It's built in, and it's part of the system. Beautiful. It adds to that comfort and easy driving. I love it.
Okay, now final thoughts, and then we have to give our rating. Okay, so we are going to rate this car in its segment, looking and thinking about competitors. But Fritz, I'm going to give this a proper 9 out of 10. Your rating out of 10?
Barney, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. And if I get the opportunity and the lifestyle to buy one of these, maybe I also become a Volvo for life dude.
Awesome. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of our review on this Volvo XC90. This is the T6. Fritz, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Fani. It was great joining you.
All right, guys, we'll see you again next time. Cheers. Straight into guest of the week, Heinrich du Preez, Managing Director, EV Global, joining us. How's it going, Heinrich?
Funny, hi. How's it, Peter? So it's CEO. And
Oh, CEO. Oh, sorry, got it wrong. I just wanted him to say it. How's it going with you?
Yeah, so we're busy on the EV side. You know, we had a discussion before the program. We honestly believe we're on the start of the wave of EV. You know, I spent a couple of months in the UK in 2019, just before lockdown.
Yeah.
And the Prime Minister of Ireland said that they need 180,000 electric vehicles registered on their roads within the next 10 years. And for every new industrial building coming up, they want 1 out of 10 parkings allocated for EV charging stations. So yeah, you know, between Europe and China, there's a big war on EV. You know, half the fleets in all the Chinese major capitals are already, half the bus fleets are full electric.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think we're just on the start of a wave of EV. I think we, as a third world country, we're a little bit behind.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, we're going to catch up. You know, like we always say, technology takes about 3 years to get to South Africa, and then another 3 years to get to Bloom. But yeah, I think there's exciting times ahead. And you know, from our point of view, you know, we're not really into the real roadworthy EV cars.
Yes.
There's a lot of other applications for EV. You know, from EV wheelbarrows to EV cherry pickers, guys using EV on farms. So, you know, it's an evolving market.
Okay, we'll get into that, but I think let's start off with EV Global.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the company? How long have you guys been around? What do you do exactly? What offerings and products do you guys have?
Yeah, so EV Global started off in 2009 as a company called Golf Car SA, because in South Africa EV's been here for a very long time,
Yes.
but only for golfers. A couple of years ago, the two-wheeler or the two-seater cars became four-seaters with the rise of golf estates. You know, the security villages, if we can call them that.
Yep.
Yes.
And, you know, we started off as Golf Car SA, and in 2019, we started to franchise our business. It was our 10th year as an EV supplier. And we then saw the opportunity to bring more EV products into our fold. And hence the name EV Global. You know, we can't be Golf Car SA outside the borders of this country.
Sure.
And we're opening up our first franchise in the UK in this month.
Wow. Okay.
We're opening up a franchise in Mauritius. So we're really going to be EV Global. And now we've got a lot of other products. We do electric wheelchairs, we do electric forklifts, we do electric bicycles. We've got a motocross off-road motorcycle that will probably beat any 250cc out there. And the nice thing is that with EV, you've got power immediately. You don't
Sure.
wait for revs to pick up to get to your power band. So, yeah, you know, we do a lot of products, and we focus on all the stuff that happens within golf estates. Driving down to the clubhouse, you need an EV.
Yeah.
So I mean, what typically are some of the? I mean, we obviously know golf carts, but what are some of the brands and some of the products that you have within the range? Because I mean, I went onto the website and there was a lot.
Yeah.
And some very cool stuff, by the way.
Yeah. So the nice thing with us is we've grown to be such a player in the local market that, you know, a lot of the vehicles are custom built for us by our suppliers, mainly in China. And, you know, we've got naming rights of our cars. So we don't bring in brands, we bring in EVG products. So we've got the EVG Lux, which is our top of the range, luxurious four-seater car for golf estate use. And then we've got the EVG Lux Plus, which is an off-road vehicle, full off-road vehicle. But our vehicles are so advanced now that you can't really compare them to golf carts anymore.
Sure.
We've got reverse cameras on our cars as a standard feature. You know, we've got full digital display with touch screen that tells you everything about the car. It tells you when the car needs to be serviced. So some of them are more advanced than cars driving on the road.
I'm sure.
I mean, there, look at the screen. Yeah, you can see on the website just some of the products. It's amazing, actually.
I think what I want to do before we carry on quickly is just to talk to the viewers again. Guys at home, if you have any questions for any of us, for Heinrich, please, you can pop those questions into the comments below the video. And also, please stay tuned because there's some fun coming up just after this interview. I don't know if you remember what's going to happen, but we're going to have some fun.
I'm going to beat him. I remember. It's like yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
All right, guys. So, yeah, please, and make sure that you share and like. And on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel if you're watching on YouTube, on raceday.tv. And so, yeah, please, guys, get involved. This is why we do it live, so that you can be involved.
Part of the action.
That's it.
So Heinrich, obviously, with the motor industry, we deal with new cars and pre-owned vehicles. Do you guys do used EVs and refurbished EVs and the like?
Yeah, so unfortunately, our industry is governed by rand dollar. 99% of the products that we sell and that we service and maintain across our market are imported. So, we had a steep increase over the last couple of years. Sure. And that has opened the market to refurbish cars. So in our market, you get 3 cars. You get a second-hand car, which you sell on to your friend. You get a refurbished car with a lot of new spares going into the car. The most expensive part of EVs is the batteries. So we replace the batteries, and then you get the new cars. So I don't think there's somebody in the country that does refurbishment in the way that we do.
Look at that. That's not a refurbishment. That's a rebuild.
Yeah. So we go up to 14-inch mags on the cars. We put lifting kits on them. We put built-in radio systems. All the people that we employ are Red Seal, either Red Seal mechanics, Red Seal fabricators. We've got auto trimmers doing our stuff. So we do everything in-house. Our company is big enough that we can do everything in-house. So from when the car arrives as a second-hand until it leaves our shop as a fully rebuild, we offer same warranties as on new cars because 90% of the stuff's newly redone. So if you look at a simple thing like upholstery, we rebuild the seat. We don't recover the seat, we rebuild the seat. So everything in that seat, from the foam, everything is brand new. Sure. So you literally buy a brand new car, but at a fraction of the cost of a new car.
Yeah. Okay, so you told us and you mentioned that the company started in 2009, has grown. You guys started doing some franchising. So where can people find EV Global? Is it one head office here up in Joburg, Pretoria area, or are you guys all over the country at the moment? How many franchises
so we've actually grown through COVID. We were one of those companies. We started franchising November 2019. Our first franchise opened literally a couple of months before. And most companies would have not survived franchising, and we've actually grown to 12 franchises yesterday, and we added another 2 this morning. So we're on 14 franchises. 7 of them are functional already. The other ones are opening within the next month or 2. And our target was to have 10 franchises by the end of the year, and it looks like we'll have 20. We're aiming for 20 franchises. Our company has grown in leaps and bounds, and we've got a lot of energetic people in our franchise business. We've got franchises operating from Polokwane to Nelspruit. The picture there is from our...
Where was that taken?
That's our RTBS Dam franchise.
Okay, that's just up the road from me.
It's alcohol-free champagne there.
Why?
I think it was in lockdown, so it was alcohol-free. Yeah, so and all our franchise, that's our wet bank franchise.
Okay.
All our franchises, we like the motor industry.
Yes.
You walk in, you can buy a new car, you can buy a refurbished car, you can buy spares, or you can have your car serviced.
It's exactly that, which is seriously also taking this to a next level.
Absolutely. You think golf cart is just,
Yeah, it's a fully fledged electric vehicle dealership, if I can call it that.
That's it. That's exactly that. And one of our prides of our business, we looked at a lot of franchise opportunities out there, and we offer our franchise owners the chance to get full return on investment within 6 months.
That's
where
that's
a good
very
franchise
impressive,
takes 2 years.
Yeah,
so
that's very
we
impressive.
offer 6 months, and the way we structured it is to take the risk away from the franchisee,
Okay.
in the sense that we give you about 70% of the money you put in back in stock.
Okay,
Once
that's
that
better.
stock is sold, you know, you've got your money,
Money
back,
back,
and we give you the opportunity to own more than one franchise. So the quicker you make your money back, the quicker you can buy it.
Because, I mean, you know, the old saying in the motor industry is, how do you make millions from the car industry? You start off with hundreds of millions.
I wanted to say billions.
So I'm glad to see that the guys are seeing, you know, a great return on investments very quickly. How does somebody go about getting a franchise? And is the franchise limited to the products that are within the golf cart type of structure, or is there other equipment?
Yeah, so we registered with FASA, that's the Franchise Association of South Africa, so we're governed by them.
Okay.
So we do the entire process from the screening, you know, to applying for the franchise, to us going and looking at the site that you choose to have the franchise at. So we do the entire process, very simple. You go onto our website, evglobal.co.za. On the home screen, there's a big button, you know, join our franchise network, so you can get some information from that. Yes, and then, you know, there's a couple of areas. We only have 62 franchises available. We've already sold 12. You know, so the more we sell, the more expensive they'll get, obviously. But yeah, you know, we are an EV company. We're not a golf cart business. So
Sure.
even though that makes out a big part of what we do, and our roots hailed from that industry, we do all kinds of stuff. You know, electric wheelchairs, as I mentioned, wheelbarrows.
We've got some stuff here that we want to show. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's from Italy. Fioriniti. What is it called?
Fiorentini.
Fiorentina.
Yeah,
sounds
very
like
easy.
sounds
Fiorentina.
like a tap.
Okay, so all of this sort of stuff is also part of this
so-
agreement. This you can obviously sell to commercial type of
Yes.
businesses and
Yeah, so
cleaning
Fiorentini is
equipment.
the oldest.
Zallies.
Yeah, Fiorentini is the oldest walk behind electric cleaning equipment since 1948. They've been around.
Cool.
So their stuff, anything cleaning wise, they do. Zallies, also Italian company, they do tuggers that can pull big aeroplanes. You know, so you can see their strong equipment, all lithium battery operated stuff. And we've also got the agency for them. So literally anything that you think of that can move a human being or goods with electrical power, that's what we do. From hoverboards to segways to, you know, literally anything you can get on that's electric.
I mean, we have a roaring debate amongst ourselves, and I think with some of our guests as well, in terms of the future of electric vehicles from a car point of view, from a passenger car point of view. And I know that's not necessarily a place that you operate in, but I mean, you must have an opinion about what the future holds for electric vehicles.
Yeah, so I'll answer it with 3 words: electric, electric, electric. so yeah, no,
I'm going to reply with recharge stations.
So yeah, you know, I'm the president of the Cobra Club, so I wish for fuel to always be there so we can have V8s.
Yeah.
I would die if I get in a Cobra and it's electric, but you know, I think we sort of in the middle of the transformation. Fuel has been there for a very long time, and I think it's still going to be there for a very long time. Especially in the third world countries who cannot support the infrastructure for electric. But like with the internet, you know, a few years ago, internet was not available. Now you've got it on your phone. So I think we'll move into that, and I think it's going to be a lot quicker in the years to come. But I believe that the future of the planet will be electric. Everything that we do will be electric because we've got the sun as the main power source. So, you know, to give you an answer, I'm also divided. You know, I want fuel to be there in a small way, but I think the future of the planet depends on us going electric.
Sure. So I want to wrap up the interview segment, part of the show tonight, with you telling us a little bit and finishing off with the franchise opportunity? Because, you know, listening to you, I'm sitting here thinking,
maybe we should chat.
Maybe we should chat. And,
Yeah, so next week there's no more show and you own a franchise. I'm happy with that.
So talk to us about, you said the return on investment is quite quick and good and whatever the case is, but I think I want to know how much it's going to cost me, all right? And I need to know exactly, obviously I can go onto the website and contact you, but what else is there to know about this?
So let's talk about the money aspect quickly. You know, our franchises, we've built what I think, you know, sort of a world first on a franchise level. We full turnkey. So there's no startup, you don't need any startup capital once you've bought the franchise, because we give you everything from branded clothing for your mechanics all the way up to your computers, your desks, full turnkey. We do the branding, we supply the vehicles
Shop
that you
fitting.
need, everything. Our entry-level franchises started at 1.5 million, excluding VAT. But as I said, you get more than 70% of that back in sellable stock, including parts, including accessories, and including vehicles. So that makes it a worthwhile franchise. Our franchises are not town-bound, so you know, in Time Mpumalanga, we've got 2 franchises, one in Witbank, one in Nelspruit. So on the Witbank side, we could have gone Witbank, Middelburg, Ermelo, Bethel, and then put 6 or 7 guys down and make a lot of money, but that's not what we're all about. We want to give you a business that you can prosper and grow into, and then get into franchise fees. You know, a lot of franchises charge up to 50% of net profit, you know, so they believe if you make money out of their product and out of their idea, they want all the money. We don't work like that. We charge 16,800 excluding VAT per month, and that's all. If you make $1 million, great for you.
Oh wow! So it's not linked
scalable.
to the.
Not at all. 16,800 escalating yearly with 10%, but 16,800, and our belief behind that is, if I've got 20 franchises paying me that much, I've got enough money that I can put into national advertising, so everybody benefit. But for a single franchise to put 16,000 into his own advertising in this area, you know, he can't do billboards, he can't do radio, probably have a couple of flyers that he hands out at the traffic lights. So we've redefined the way that franchises should work, and I think that's why we're so successful. That during COVID year we sold 12 franchises, where a lot of guys, you know, struggle to keep the lights on.
I mean, I think that, you know, the reality is what's exciting for us and intriguing for us is that, you know, we all know that a franchise business, if it's done properly, is very successful. But I think if we look at the food franchises as an example, they make a lot of money, but the escalations in rental give that food franchise a half-life of 5 years.
Yeah.
So people have been looking for alternatives to go into a franchise environment. This is a really cool franchise environment. So I think maybe let's just revisit the website again, just to remind our viewers where they can go to.
Yeah, so it's very simple. It's EV Global, and if you go on the website, you'll see there's a thing at the top that says join our network. It's also on the homepage, and if you just click there, you'll get straight to my email address, which is info@evglobal, and we set up a meeting, we show you the stuff, and you know, we always say to potential franchise owners, I'm a businessman and I'm a salesman, so I'm going to sell you the franchise. But I want you to go to my existing franchises and go and talk to them and see their shops and see what they do. And most guys who go there to any of the franchises come back and say, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah. Well, I'm blown away and I'm convinced. Well done on your sales pitch.
Thank you.
But now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have some fun with Game Time. And this is where you guys at home can get involved.
Oh, please help me.
Yeah, do you want to do that? Maybe the viewers and you can play against Heinrich tonight.
Yeah, I need all the help I can get. You know, I've been rusty. Okay. It's been 3 weeks since we've been on the show.
Okay.
I hardly know what a car looks like.
So sticking to our theme, tonight we are looking at electric vehicles. So there I gave you a huge tip. Okay, huge tip. And ladies and gentlemen at home, if you recognize the car, you can also just give us your comment. I'm just going to quickly recap, Heinrich. You're going to look at a partial picture of a car. If you recognize the car, shout your name. And I'll
as long as it's golf cars, I'm in.
It's not golf cars. It's electric cars. All right, guys, here comes the first one.
Peter. Is that a Fiat 500?
Yes.
Wow.
It is.
That's what I wanted to say. But
Peter, is this going to be your season?
Could be.
It could be your season. Heinrich, can you see properly there?
Yes.
Okay. I just
can
wanted
see
to make
clearly
sure
now.
because you know how this is supposed to work.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Here comes the second one.
Peter.
No ways.
Yeah, that's it. We've just featured that, man. That's the Volvo XC90.
Peter, well done. I'm very impressed.
I think he's cheating.
No, I swear I'm not.
Maybe he's looking at my notes.
These guys, no, they're horrible to me. They even turn my microphone off if I start getting it right. What?
Sometimes. Okay, so let's see. Bianca got Fiat right as well. M, are you still watching? You must play along here. Dimple's also watching with us. Come on, guys. I want to see your answers. Here comes the third one.
Yes, I would have gone with Fiat 500 there.
Is it a Fiat?
Peter.
Peter, there's no way.
That
there's
is
no
the
way
Mini.
that you can get 3 in a row.
That is the Mini.
I don't think so. Let's see what the guys at home say.
Is that not the Mini?
I'm saying I don't think so. So I'm not 100%
okay.
sure. So let's just see if anybody at home can get this right. Bianca, are you still watching? Where's Marius tonight? Okay, time's up.
That looks like a Mini.
Okay, Heinrich, did you say Mini?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well done. Heinrich, well done for
Thank
getting
you.
that point.
You know what
okay.
you didn't realize? I actually kicked Heinrich's microphone off.
Okay, so it's 2-1 to Peter in the lead with 4 to go. Here comes the fourth. Is it? Yes, the fourth one.
Peter.
BMW i35. Thank you.
R3.
5. i35. BMW.
BMW R3. And I said my name.
Peter, I'm gonna have to unfortunately give that one to you, Pete.
Aye, how's that?
Yeah,
It's an R3.
it's an i3.
Oh, i35, i3, it's the same thing.
Except for the 5 part.
Yeah, except if you drop the 5.
I thought we're going with the make of the car. And now you want...
Okay, so I'll give you half a point.
You can
Thank
give
you,
him half a
thank
point.
you.
Okay,
Thank
so I'll give you half a point.
I'll be magnanimous and give him half a point.
So 3 to 1.5. So the next 3 needs to go to you so that you can still win.
Please put off his mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys at home, Nadia's got BMW, Bianca is watching, yes. Okay, here comes number 5.
Jaguar. Heinrich Jaguar.
Heinrich, so you know how this works. Yes, you got it right, but can you tell me what it is? It's a Jaguar what?
Jaguar electric vehicle.
Can I get half a point?
No,
Our pace.
Yes.
Yep. Half a
Okay.
point.
I'm going to give him a full point. I'm going to give you half a point.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's how we roll. Nice. There's a discount on your franchise fee.
Okay, so it's very close. Nadia got Jaguar I-Pace, yes. Okay, so Peter, the guys at home are actually joining you tonight. And
That's excellent.
yeah.
I need all the help I can get.
Okay, so here comes number 6, guys.
Peter.
There's no way.
That is a Tesla Model 3.
No. Okay, so you're definitely wrong.
Heinrich, I would say that's a Citroen, some sort of Citroen.
No, he was right.
Ah, yes, yeah.
It's the Citroen.
No, it's a Tesla Model S.
I mean the Tesla model.
Yes, absolutely right.
Thank you.
Really? The Tesla Model S. Yo, what a car. What a car. Imagine if that was here. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
So we should be all square now.
So
to my
I've
calculation.
got 3.5.
Okay, cool.
And how many cars left?
1.
One.
So whoever gets this one wins.
Cool.
Okay, let's go.
I'm very sure that it's going to be a difficult one for you guys. Okay, guys, here comes the last one.
That's a Heinrich, Golf 1 rabbit shape.
Golf 1.
You know what? That almost looks like a Jeep.
It's not.
Not a Jeep.
It's not. Wow. Stand by. Fritz is helping
This is
you
going to be a
guys.
draw. What is that?
No, I've got no idea.
Stand by.
Honda. Peter Honda.
Dude, I can't believe those lights on a Honda.
Can you believe it?
Even if you showed me the logo, I would still say no. It's some other thing with the Honda. That
Wow,
is
look
the
at that.
most
I'll be honest with you. I've never seen
beautiful
it.
car that I've ever seen.
That is the most city golf looking Honda I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So the Honda E, that's simply
Okay.
called the Honda
Right.
E.
I honestly, only when I saw the Honda badge on the picture
Okay,
itself.
so now I have to give all the viewers at home the bad news. Peter's won, so you can expect a very, very cold weekend.
it's going to snow.
It's going to probably rain and snow and all
I'm just warning all future guests. I have been researching my cars.
Have you come
I
up?
am not going to lose this season.
And you can also tell the viewers that the franchise fees have just gone up dramatically. I was here for discount, but it's not going to happen.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, Heinrich, for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you here. And I'll see you on Saturday. We're doing some Cobra stuff.
I'm looking forward to it, the Cobra track day.
Yes.
We've got over 20 Cobras going out on the track, so it's
can't
going to be
wait.
spectacular. Please wear dark pants. You're driving with me, and make sure it's not fluffy pants.
Okay.
We want stuff that's proper bling
Okay.
bling.
Okay. Cool
Looking
stuff.
forward to it.
We'll do
Excellent.
that.
Where's that being held? At Swartkorps?
Swartkorps.
Okay, awesome.
All right, guys. That brings us to the end of that segment. And now we're going to look at tyres. Professor Peter is going to explain a little bit more about tyres and the ins and outs in this week's segment of How Things Work. And this is proudly brought to you by Suzuki Auto South Africa.
Welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Automotive and How Things Work. And in this segment, we're going to take you through some of the basics of tyres that we find typically on either our buckies or our passenger cars. So first things first, let's understand clearly that a tyre is a critical component for our car from a safety point of view. It is literally the only area that is in contact between the car and the road. And in fact, the contact area, the tread that's exposed to the tarmac, is normally about the size of the palm of our hand. And if we take 4 of these, that equals to about the same size as an A4 sheet of paper. That's all that's holding you between being safe and having an accident on the road. So let's go through the different types of tyres that we typically find out there. The first is that we get high performance tyres, and these are predominantly also summer tyres. And the characteristics of these tyres is that they have a low profile, which I'll explain a little bit later, but they also have a very square shoulder, and the tread bias is towards dry weather handling characteristics. So the shoulder being square prevents the tyre from rolling when we go around a corner aggressively. And one of the things that we do find with these types of tyres is that they track very easily in terms of the surface of the road. So if you've got a high performance car with a high performance tyre, you do find that the tyre tends to cause the car to wander a bit. So there's nothing wrong with the car, it's just one of the characteristics of the tyres. The second type of tyre that we get, which is one that we find on most of our vehicles in any case, is our all-weather tyre. And as the name suggests, that tyre is able to handle both wet weather conditions as well as dry driving conditions, and it has characteristics that we take from both conditions. Then we get a pure wet weather tyre and a snow tyre. Now in some countries, by the way, where there is snow, you're actually legally required to remove your summer tyres or your all-weather tyres and put on your wet weather or snow tyres. And in fact, you can get a fine if you have the wrong set of tyres on. Now, interestingly enough, the way that a snow tyre gets its grip is the same way that we get grip, I suppose, when we're taking press stick off something. So if we've got a piece of press stick on a piece of paper, we use another piece of press stick to pull that original piece off. And it's exactly the same with snow tyres. With snow tyres, we need the tread to fill up with snow so that it's the snow on snow contact that actually creates the grip. So quite a cool concept that. Then we get an all-terrain tyre. So that's a tyre that's going to serve a number of purposes, and we find these typically on our buckies and commercial vehicles that are off-road, and they can handle a little bit of mud and mostly dust though. And then of course we get full mud tyres, and the way that a mud tyre gets grip is it's more of a paddling effect on the tread that pulls that tyre through the mud. So those are some of the types of tyres we get. Now, of course, the car manufacturers work very, very closely with the tyre manufacturers to produce very specific characteristics out of the tyres that we want on our vehicles. And the two main characteristics that we want is, first of all, noise reduction. So again, if we look at European emissions taxes, one of the emissions that you're taxed on is noise emission from your tyres. So there's a lot of work that goes into reducing the amount of noise that your tyre produces. And in fact, on your more expensive tyres, you can actually start to see specific patterns on the tread that are actually sound baffles that assist in reducing the noise that the tyre generates when it's rolling. The second thing that we want to reduce is the amount of static discharge that the tyre produces so that when we get in and out of the vehicle, we don't shock ourselves to death. So in the good old days, we used to see a lot of cars driving around and they had chains that hung off underneath the vehicle. And as that chain made contact with the road, it discharged all the static buildup. Now, we don't see that anymore because the tyres do a great job in actually reducing the static charge. Now, one of the things that we get asked a lot of questions about is, what do the numbers on the tyres stand for? So we've got a tyre over here that we're going to use as an example. And in this case, we can see here that the markings here say 185, 65, R15. And then there's two more items over here. There's an 88 and an H. So let's go through these numbers independently. All right, so let's start off with this 185. This tells us what the width of the tyre is in millimeters. Then we have 65. Now this is the profile of the tyre or the height of the tyre. Now it's not as you think. It's not actually a measurement in millimeters. The 65 tells us that the height of the profile of the tyre is 65% of the width of the tyre. Now you may wonder why we do it like that. And the simple reason is so that we can accommodate a change in the actual diameter of the rim that we have on our wheel. So if you want to go from a 16-inch to an 18-inch rim, there are tables that the tyre fitment centers have that they can plug in your tyre's details and come up with a tyre that might be able to accommodate a different diameter on the rim, but it still retains the same height of the tyre. And it's critical that our tyre height remains consistent because this determines the accuracy of our speedometer as well as the effectiveness of sensors such as our ABS sensor and our ESP sensor, that they work correctly. Then we have this R over here, which tells us that this is a radial tyre. And what that means is that there's actually cabling, high strength cabling in the tyre itself that provides strength and rigidity for the tyre. And then we have this 15 over here. Now this 15 is the diameter of the rim in inches. So quite interesting for me that we have in the same line millimeters, a percentage, and inches. And then of course we've got two more ratings on the tyre. The first is this 88, for example, over here, which is our load index. Now 88, just out of interest, means this tyre can handle about 560 kilograms, so one mother-in-law per tyre load that we can carry. And the H is our speed rating, and in this case, H means that this tyre can handle around 220 kilometers an hour from a speed rating point of view. But there's a word of caution behind that, because your speed rating of your tyre is what your tyre can handle for 15 minutes of continuous use before it starts to fatigue the tyre. It's a dangerous misconception that people believe that if their tyres are smooth, that they're now suddenly going to have a slick tyre and that's going to give them more grip. A slick tyre is made out of a completely different compound, which is actually quite sticky, and that's what causes it to grip. Whereas a normal road-going tyre, we need those blocks and we need that tread to create a biting edge. And that's what gives us our grip. Now, I can simulate a biting edge with my fingers. If I run my fingers this way, and you can do the same, there's no grip. But if I push them this way, they suddenly grip. And it's this movement on the base of my fingers that creates that biting edge. And it's exactly the same as with your tires. Okay, so a couple of safety factors just to consider when purchasing a tire. Bear in mind that this is one of your key safety elements on a vehicle, so we really shouldn't be taking chances in terms of buying unknown brands. Also make sure that when you purchase a tire, that the tire is still a new tire in terms of its production. Make sure that the tire has a healthy speed rating as well as a load index, and of course make sure that your tires are operated at the manufacturer's recommended pressures. So we hope that that information was useful to you, and we look forward to seeing you on future episodes of How Things Work.
So you reckon load index 1 times mother-in-law per tire?
Yeah. I say that now, but by the time I get home, I'm probably going to have a few phone calls. I maybe revise that statement.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of tonight's show. But before we go, we've got one final Have a Laugh with Us segment, and it's called Tappet of the Week. And in tonight's show, we've got a little bit of a petrol theme going.
Yeah, so it's actually Tappet of the Week. You'll see now what we're talking about.
Let's have a look. So first of all, I've never seen this, Pete. This lady is seemingly washing her car with petrol at the petrol station.
Yes, I'll tell you what. Can you imagine all the rubber seals? How they're going to perish?
That is insane.
I mean, she's certainly getting off all the bugs that are probably on the car, and I think this may be what her motive was. But
yeah.
My goodness.
So two things that I want to just point out to you, Pete, is firstly, kudos to whoever designed the mask, because obviously she can't smell. Secondly, maybe the mask wasn't the determining factor here, and the mask doesn't work, but she's already got coronavirus and she doesn't have a sense of smell.
Well, she's definitely, I think, a bit of both, because, wow, I've never seen that, but hopefully the station manager ran over there and at least cleaned that mess up.
Okay, but now, Peter, look at this. This is a Tesla Model S, so can you maybe just tell me what you see might be the problem here?
Well, first of all, I'm very suspicious about that lady, for a start. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the problem
but
here?
the problem here is she's trying to fill the bloody car up and looking for the petrol cap.
But it's full electrical.
It's a full electric car, so somebody didn't give her the memo.
Okay, so she found the charging port.
Now she's thinking, yeah, but these little holes are so small.
How's she going to get the fuel in there?
I tell you what, at this point I'm cringing, because I'm thinking she's
actually
going to pour petrol down that socket and destroy the electronics.
Luckily,
I know what's happened here. You know what's happened? She's tied her hair too tight at the back and starved blood to her brain.
Peter, this is definitely the most tappet of the week I've ever seen.
It's incredible.
All right. So that brings us to the end of tonight's show. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Pete, it's good to be back, and it's good to have you back.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying being back, and looking forward to seeing everybody next week.
Have a good one, guys. See you next week. Remember the Tesla. Tesla. Next week, big show.